not worth watching. So, E3 2010. This was the first E3 that they went back to having live presentations of E3 at the Nintendo store in Rockefeller Center, Manhattan. I have my video I took in the store of that, and Pete Dorr also has his video that he took in the store of that. I'm not going to show that today. We're just going to watch the straight press conference, like, you know, the official feed, and maybe later on we'll do a viewing of the viewing of, you know, the one that the videos that me and Pete took. What I will say though is that this E3 might be the best stage show E3 aside from E3 2006 was fantastic because the way they introduced the Wii. 2004 and 6, 4, 5, and 6 were great. 4 and 6 in particular because those both had new console reveals that were well executed, led to those systems launching later that year and the both respective years to great success. But E3 2010 was a fantastic year because we've got a lot of great games being announced and showcased on stage, and the reveal of Nintendo 3DS. This was probably one of the strongest stage show E3 this is top 3. Like 2010, 2004, 4 and 6 I'd place on higher levels. Well, 6 I'll place as number 1 because that was the most critical E3 for them. 2004 I'll place right behind because proving that GameCube had a future, that the GameCube was not going to die off midway through the console cycle, proving that GameCube was resurgent and had a future in that console cycle, and that Nintendo had a future in the console business, proving that Nintendo, their progress they're making with their future handhelds, that they would be able to make a strong stand against the PSP, which was often assumed to be the favorite to just totally destroy Nintendo DS. Now, mind you, I supported both DS and PSP with my money from day one. I got both of those systems on launch day when they came out in the United States. But 2010, I'll place in third place. A great mid lifespan showing for the Wii. Lots of great games, lots of unexpected games, and the reveal of a new handheld of the 3DS that ended up being a great new system and arguably the last true proper dedicated handheld platform from Nintendo.
Ladies and gentlemen,
and they had a
welcome Reggie Fils-Aimé.
Yeah. This is a great E3 for Nintendo.
Good morning. To all of you here in the Nokia Theater, and to all of you watching online. For gamers, this is the best week of the year.
It really is.
You can just feel the buzz in the air. And as usual, that buzz begins with technology. After all, E3 is the land of touchscreens and big screens, HD and 3D, button control, motion control, and no controller at all.
Yeah, this was the E3 where they revealed they fully revealed what became Microsoft Connect with the Xbox Connect, and then they really was a push for PlayStation Move as well. So,
because technology is only a tool. The end product, the thing that does matter, is the experience. And the best experiences always come when technology and game design are perfectly matched. Here at E3, with thousands of people battling to see and try everything at once, considering the experience is the only real way to make sense of it all. And this year, we intend to show you how Nintendo, once again, is raising the bar in terms of game experience. Let's begin with details on an experience you've been waiting for.
And Zelda! I forgot about... There was rumors... Okay, at E3 2009, they showed some concept art for Skyward Sword, or what became Skyward Sword. Yeah, this was we knew we were probably going to get the first Zelda for the ground up for Wii, and then for them to start with this, where they're going through like images from all the previous 3D Zeldas. Now, I like the Skyward Sword art style, and I think this art style did good in really pushing the limits of what the Wii was capable of. But at the same time, I feel like this art style is almost... What was that? This art style is almost kind of like the new Super Mario Brothers-ization of,
Hello.
Hey, we just saw this
Nintendo's
yesterday, him
presentation.
with that sword and shield at E3
Today,
2004.
I will introduce the newest version of Zelda, made exclusively for Wii, The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. I think this game will be remembered as a key turning point in Zelda's long history.
This was the beginning of the turning point. They wanted to revolutionize Zelda for a while, but it was really with Breath of the Wild that they really did what they were hoping
Adventures in
for.
Hyrule would not be possible without this sword and shield, and the items used to solve puzzles, and the map system used to confirm.
I got to see that sword in person at the
In one
Nintendo
sense,
World
the
Store. They had it
history
on
of the
display.
Legend of Zelda series
That's
has
so
been
cool.
a history of refining the interface that makes using these complicated mechanics easy. For many years, I've been asking if there wasn't a way to create a Legend of Zelda game that would give you the freedom to use your sword and shield.
You gonna
and
get some
items
ramen
freely
for
and
lunch?
naturally.
Oh yeah, did I answer that? Yeah, my
This
ramen
time
place used to be
is this.
Dojo on West 4th and Mercer. Next time I'm in the New York area, I'll try to stop by there if I can.
When we were making swordplay for Wii Sports Resort, I spoke with our team and I said, "This is it. Let's make the next Zelda with this." With a sword this light, you can move it around as you
Oh
like.
yeah, the ramen's closer to you in
Princess, use
Canada
the
than it
nunchuck
is in
to
the
move
US when you go over to our side, huh?
This time, you will use it to raise your shield. And Wii Motion Plus isn't used only for sword control, it also makes using items very natural.
I think they went a little overboard with some of these
On the
motion
bottom
controls.
here
I really
is
just
the
wanted
keyboard.
it to stick to the sword
You
and
just
shield.
press this button to choose your item.
There's some things that the
You know,
motion
it's
control
kind of
does
hard
work
to
for other than the
understand
sword and
without
shield,
seeing
but
the
they
game
they tried to force every little thing to use the motion plus, and it was got a little
Oh, I know.
overbearing.
Hey, Bill, are you on stage?
Yeah, right here.
Can you help me out here? So why don't you just explain the rest?
Oh, it's all Tex-Mex
Do my
stuff.
best.
Good luck.
Now, okay, what's gonna happen here,
Okay.
and this was very strange watching at the time, but looking back, what they're gonna get at is the idea that Brill Trinan is gonna try to play Skyward Sword, but he's gonna be playing it with like waggle style, like he's playing the Twilight Princess on Wii, where that just had the waggle that was just, you know, no different than just jamming on a button. And and Miyamoto's like, no, you have to hold the sword for real, and like so he's pretending to mess up on purpose. Then Miyamoto was going to come in and show him how to really play the game and do the actual full one-to-one motions. What ends up happening is that there is interference and the connection between the controller and the console is disrupted, and it makes the motion controls look like an absolute train wreck that barely works. And I heard that Miyamoto was pissed backstage afterwards. I like what they try to do. There are a lot of things about Skyward Sword I really didn't like. For instance, the fact that why did they decide that we needed to have a backstory for the history of Ganon that go? I mean, we already had that with Ocarina of Time, and then the fact that the lore introduced in Skyward Sword betrays some of the oldest standing canonical lore for Zelda, that being the tragedy of Princess Zelda the First. And now we're going to have a previous Zelda that is going to be before that, which I thought was kind of irritating. Yeah, there are a lot of things that... I never played the remaster for Switch. If I do, I never replayed through the entire one on Wii.
So, good morning, everyone.
So he's being awkward on purpose, and he's going to mess up on purpose, and it's going to make it look even worse when the controller does not work for Miyamoto either.
The Wii Remote becomes my sword.
And I'm watching this, I remember we're talking, me and Pete are like, what is going on? Like, why is...
There you go.
Because I was with Pete and Rob Triple Nine.
Like a
Pete
swing,
Dorr and Rob
I'm at
Triple Nine were with
any
me.
angle here.
And we're like, what is going on? Why is he so
This is
awkward?
strange. Hang on. Ow! What's going on?
Bill, Bill, that's not right.
What?
You've got to hold the shield more like a shield.
Wait.
And the sword like this.
Ow! What? So...
See how they transition. We could tell something seemed wrong with the... We could tell... I don't know what Pete's final thoughts on the final game were, and I never talked to Rob about it. but I could tell that.
I'll explain it myself.
Yeah,
think that might
but
be a
I
good
know,
idea.
like, all of us could tell, like, everyone in that
Just take
on the second floor of
Okay.
on 48th
That I
Street,
can do.
we were all like, something's going wrong with the controls. Something's malfunctioning. It's not like there's no way the controls could be this bad because we had all used Wii Motion Plus by this
本当
point,
に
and we knew it
剣と
worked.
盾を持ってるというイメージを
Just
してください
imagine that you're holding a sword and a shield yourself.
で使うのはこのリモートの AB ボタン
And all the buttons that you're going to use are going to be the A and B button on the Wii
CZ のボタン。
remote and the C and Z buttons on the
あとはほと
nunchuck.
んどのアクションですね
Other than that, all the actions are going to be done using realistic motions.
でまずこうゼルダに大事なのは、
So what's important for a Zelda game is, of course,
剣ですね剣はこの右手を振れば
so if you just shake your right hand, the sword will come out,
ですね
and you can swing at any angle.
こうですねそれから Z を押せば前を向きます
And if you press the Z button, you'll
And
target.
you know what I really wanted, especially since Twilight Princess, I wanted a vast, sprawling Hyrule to explore on foot.
My movements one to one.
Because Wind Waker really teases you when you go underwater and see the vast plains of Hyrule, but you can only explore that little path between Hyrule Castle and Ganon's Tower. And Twilight Princess was more along with the lines of what I wanted in terms of an overworld, but it was really several large open areas linked together. I wanted a single, seamless, sprawling overworld, and I was kind of hoping that this would be it, because the game was called Skyward Sword, but the actual elements where there are islands in the sky and sort of these separate ground-based areas that aren't contiguous with each other, that wasn't revealed yet. So at this point I was kind of hoping this would be a vast land-based Zelda with a big Hyrule field, and this was actually the exact opposite. This is kind of an even more restricted exploratory world than Wind Waker was, because they had the small islands, but it was on a vast ocean. You could visit the islands in any order you wanted, and you might be stuck if you didn't have the right tools or weapons or items to explore the islands, but you could still visit there
Now,
at
when you
least.
hold your sword straight up towards the
を
sky,
充電します
you can see it charge up with the power from the heavens.
剣ビームですね
The power from
And
heaven.
then you can let loose
How
sword
epic
beams.
sounding.
回転切りは両手を振ります
You can also do spin attacks by swinging both hands together in the same
こういう感じ
direction.
で進んでいきます
So I'm going to run ahead here.
さ
Okay.
あなんか出てきま
There's
したね
something over here, I see. What's this?
目玉がですね
There's an eyeball on that door.
この目玉はどうも剣を見てるみたいなんですね
That looks kind of... Oh,
見ました
look at that.
じゃあ
Oh,
こ
if I try to cut it, it
う目
closes
を
the
回してみ
eye.
ましょう
Yeah, once I realized that there was not going to be a proper overworld in the game, I really kind of lost interest. I didn't play that far into it. Once I realized there was no proper overworld, I was done. But I did watch my father play through most of it. He was more into it because he didn't have any specific expectations.
今度は盾を使います
Okay, this time I'm going to use the shield.
盾は右手を振ります
So with just the left hand, I'll give a quick shake to raise my shield.
オクタロックが出てきま
You
し
can
た
see
ね
an Octorok has popped up here.
盾を構えてるの
I
で
can use my shield to block his rocks.
じゃあこれを盾アタックで跳ね返し
And
ます
if I do a shield bash,
よし
then I can knock the rocks back at him.
Wow, it's almost 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time already. How long have I been on live? I've been live for nearly
There
2
we
hours,
go.
15 minutes shy of 2 hours.
Oh, we've got one more here.
With the Switch, you could use the Joy-Con. You could use the 2 Joy-Con for motion controls, even more accurate than the Wii Motion Plus, from what I've heard. Or if you can, there's an option to use the Pro controller, or to use the Joy-Con attached to the Nintendo Switch in handheld mode without motion controls. So you have options for motion controls or button controls with Skyward Sword HD.
Uh-oh, we've got some Pokeballs.
If I doubt I'll ever get the game,
Now, if you look at
frankly.
the Pokeballs, you'll notice
But
that
if I was gonna play it, I'd probably
attacks.
I'd probably play it using
So I have to
the
swing my sword in a way that gets
the
around
motion
their
controls.
blades.
Because the cool thing is,
剣を
the
構えてる方
motion
から
when you play with the gamepad,
Oh,
you
you
you control Link's sword in analog using the joystick. So basically, if you're familiar with the sword controls when you have the katana in Metal Gear Solid 2, when you use the analog stick to swing the sword around, that's basically how your controls work in Skyward Sword HD on Switch when you use the button control options. And that's honestly something I wanted. I was always very interested in having more precise control of Link's sword. Like, when I first saw, like, even before they gave it the name Wind Waker, when it was just like Legend of Zelda for GameCube,
and
like that
targeting,
first
you can see a
cel-shaded
button
Zelda game for GameCube, I wanted the C stick to be used to control the sword in analog, and that's before I even played Metal Gear Solid 2. So
さあここからアイテムの説明ですね
So now let me go into the different items.
アイテム今までいろんなボ
Up
タンに
until
当て
now,
はめ
with
たり
the
いろんな
Zelda
操
game,
作を作って
typically
きた
what
んで
we've
すけど
done
も
is assigned an item.
yeah, this is a
to
bit quiet. I'm gonna crank the volume on
this
the
game,
on the
just
video up
imagine
all the
all
way.
of your items are
Make sure
somewhere
my-
in a pocket.
Yeah, the volume is up all the way you
Put
can,
your
as far as
hand
it'll
in the
go.
pocket, you hold down the B button,
これで手首を返すだけでいろんなアイテ
and
ム
then you just kind of move your hand around in the air, and you can pick any item that you want.
爆弾とか
So you can grab bombs, or
鞭とか
you can grab a whip
Don't
this
die.
time.
I'm gonna go grab my hoodie. It's a little cool in here today. Sorry,
I jumped
I'm
out
gonna
here
mute the
in the
mic.
meantime and go through all the items one by one.
例えばパチンコにしましょうか
So we'll start off with the slingshot.
基本の今度はね画面を向けなくてももうこの場所から直接
Now what's
狙え
nice
る
is
ん
that
で
this
すね
time in Skyward Sword, you don't have to point at the screen to aim. You just move the Wii remote in front of you, like you're moving a real slingshot, and that moves the cursor to aim.
スパルボールを
And then you tap the A button to shoot. Nope. Oh. These are some fast spiders.
よし
Okay,
じゃあもう剣で
I'll just take this one out with my sword.
剣で切りましょ
There we go.
う今度はねいつもの爆弾で
So
すね
next we'll take
爆
out
弾
some
今度はい
bombs.
ろんな使い方がで
The
きま
bombs
す
have a variety of different ways you can use
まず
them.
普通に置くと
Hey, I'm back.
You'll set them on the ground.
All right, hey Hangia. Yeah, E3 2010.
Tap the B
Aside
button
from,
to,
I place.
もう一回薬飲みます
I've talked about this a little earlier. I place E3 2006
tap the B button to take another one out.
and 2004 higher than this because those were both very critical moments in Nintendo history where if those E3s didn't do well, and the systems they introduced in 2000 and E306 and E304 did not hit the market and sell strongly,
And then you can also
it would have rewrote the history of Nintendo. Nintendo needed those E3s to go well, and look how bad the controls are responding.
And if you're good,
And I remember
you can put a
talking
spin
like
on
as
it, too.
I was like all of us. We watched this in the Kodak, not in the Kodak theater. We watched this in Nintendo World, and Pete was there too, actually. And we were both like, "What is going on here? Like, there's something." Like, and I have the video. Me and Pete both took our own reaction footage, but we were both like, "Something's going wrong with the controls here.
Looks like
Like,
we're having a
nothing's
little
working."
interference here.
誰
Right.
かワイヤレスを使ってますか
Somebody out there using wireless? Anybody?
Yeah, I heard Miyamoto was very
Everything went
angry
really well
after
at
this
rehearsal.
press
You guys
after
need to
this
turn off all your
show
wireless
presentation went poorly.
もう一回やりましょ
There we go.
うあれ本当におかしいですね
Yeah, we're getting at some serious
Look at
interference here, so.
look how badly the controls are just malfunctioning like crazy.
Okay.
やわ
Like,
弓矢はね
hold on, I'll rewind it a bit. Maybe you missed it. I don't know if you're
Press the
multitasking or something. Like, you can't shoot the spiders.
These are some fast spiders.
よし
And look,
Okay.
he's like the camera's fidgeting around.
I'll just take this one out.
Oh, okay, no, you said why was he angry? I thought you might not have saw it. All right.
今度はね
Yeah, no, he was. This was no. It was not supposed to happen like this. It was supposed to work
Bombs have a
perfectly.
variety of different ways you can use
まず
them.
普通に置くと A ボ
He's
タン
gonna try to roll the
On the
bomb.
ground.
ねでもう一個持って今度
You
は
can
上
just
に投げる
tap the B button to. Oh,
He's blowing himself up with bombs.
so let's try this again. So you tap the
No,
B
it
button,
wasn't a
take another one out.
calibration issue. The controller was malfunctioning.
じゃあこう投げましょうね
Raise the Wii remote to.
Nintendo didn't switch to pre-recorded until 2014. No, 2013 actually.
There we go.
はい
Yeah, 2013 is when they went pre-recorded.
That one's.
じゃあ今度はね転がしてみます
And then you can also drop your hand and roll a bomb.
ちょっと曲がりましたか
Yeah,
And
the
if you're good, you can put a little spin on it too.
and I had a flip phone at this point. I was on
Okay, next we'll
on
try
my
the,
flip phone looking at Twitter, and I was like, wow, like people were destroying this on Twitter.
そして
Okay.
あれ
Yeah, he's like looking at the floor.
ごめんなさい
Looks like we're having a little interference here.
誰かワイヤレスを使ってますか
Somebody out there using wireless.
Yeah, this
Anybody?
did not go well. This is very bad.
リハーサルではとても上手でした。
Everything went really well in our rehearsals. You guys need to turn off all your wireless devices.
Yeah.
もう一回やりましょ
There we go.
う。あれ本当におかしいですね。
Yeah,
we're
this did
getting
not
some
go
serious
well.
interference here, so.
And this is supposed to be the big reveal of one-to-one motion control
あ
Zelda.
の弓矢はね、弓矢を構えて。
So with the bow, what you do is you press the B button, you choose your item, and then you hold down the C button on the nunchuck.
で
Well, the thing is, that's the reason the interface. That's what the reason all this interference was happening. Because when they after this, they started using hardline connections for their wireless controllers.
So you face
They
forward,
had
you hold
prototypes.
back,
They used
pull back on
like
the C-
development
on the C
units that had
button,
hardwired
and the nunchuck.
cables on them for the data
And when you let go,
connection.
it fires an arrow.
ちょっと無線がおかしいように思います。
No, and if you don't like this, if you don't like him just jokingly saying, "Oh, like is anyone out there using a wireless?" When the the thing is the design. There's nothing wrong with the design of the controller. It's just that in this setting, when you have hundreds of people using Wi-Fi, hundreds of people using cellular data connections, it creates a so much interference that is not part of the what this device would normally be rated for, and it doesn't make sense for them to build the entire system to engineer the system's wireless capabilities around doing like a stage show that they do once a year on stage for like 1 or 2 units. Yeah, and it would frequently become unsynced and you press down on the D-pad to recalibrate the sword and the reticle. Yeah, well the thing is, it's not about the calibration, it's about the... well, he's standing... Well, the Wii is only a few feet away. And I've used my Wii like my controller more than 30 feet away from the console, and it responded perfectly.
It looks like we're having some trouble with wireless
だからさらに
interference.
今度は新しい。
Yeah, it's not about like even the recalibration of the motion sensor. It's that the controller
This is a beetle.
just keeps disconnecting from the
This is a
system
beetle that you shoot
because of all the
and you
wireless
fly around
interference in
and just tilt
here
the Wii remote
in
to
this
control it.
studio.
ちょっと景色綺麗ですね今度は。
And you can see that the scenery in the game this time.
And he's
is
trying
very
to show
beautiful.
off the scenery,
アイテムを
and he can barely control the beetle.
この
So you can also use the beetle to pick up items. Let's see.
こっち行きましょうか。
We'll,
Yeah, from this point forward, Nintendo generally would use hardwired controllers for on-stage demonstrations.
Oh.
Yeah, someone from Xbox had an
良
EMP.
かったですかね。よし。
There we go. We'll try this one more time.
あちこちこう
Yeah,
できるの
because
はい
of this, this was probably the
Alright,
most
we'll go on to the
awkward
next
reveal
item.
of a new Zelda game because of all the technical problems they were having. But what saved the reputation of this game, honestly, and this game went on having like a bad reputation of like having unresponsive controls,
To the whip.
but what saved this could have been 10 times worse,
無
but
知ですね。
fortunately at the end of this presentation,
As we mentioned
a
earlier, there's
platform
whip
rose from the stage that had a bunch of demo kiosks for Skyward Sword that the journalists in the theater could immediately
You can whip
test
out, grab
play.
items, pull them back.
And because of that, they were able to say, yes, the controls did work. They were just having problems with the demo unit they were using on
So
stage.
we'll use the whip to kind of have a little fun with this guy over here.
Turn on. Where is...
無知で戦えないですね。
So you can
無知を片付け
see,
て
I can't defeat him with the whip. But what I can do is very quickly and easily switch to my sword.
Actually,
So with the new
I'm
Wii
gonna
Motion
add
Plus,
something. I'm gonna add an
very
image
easy
to
switch
the
quickly
field, and I'm gonna make it go away very quickly. I'm just adding this preemptively for later on in the stream. I'm gonna have to eat,
bat-like creatures, the keys.
and I
They're
use
pretty pesky.
some artwork to represent myself when I'm eating. I'm not quite a VTuber or anything, but it's a better solution than just going off camera and having nothing on screen. So
I don't know if it's because of the
my
wireless
broadcast
interference,
software is
but we did
slow
have a
because
few
this
technical
computer does not have much
difficulties, but I can assure
RAM.
you that when you play it on the show
So
floor, you're
in
gonna
a
see
few
that
moments I'll
everything
be able to
plays
shrink
very
this
smoothly
down
and
and get it out of the way.
and that
I meant to do
new,
this before.
item system
I did this on my other layout. I forgot to do it for this one, so excuse
ぜ
me.
ひともね、今日ショーフロアでこれを体験して帰ってですね、
So I hope you'll all give it a try on the show floor because it is here, and hopefully get a
Come
taste
on.
of what it feels like to adventure in Hyrule yourselves.
本当に
Come
ハイ
on.
ランドを冒険してる気分になってほしいと思い
It's
ます。
like you've gone there.
There we
and
go.
done all
That's
the things that you
that's
could
what I
tell
wanted to
yourself.
happen.
それから大事なお知ら
Drag
せ
that
です。
over.
Then one more
Drop
important
the
thing I
art
need to
credit
talk
in
about.
chat
今
right
もうほと
there.
んど最終段階に入ってるんですけども、どうも
What kind of ramen do
So
I
we've been
order?
working very
I
hard
don't
on
remember what
bringing
kind
new
of
ideas
ramen
into
it
the game.
is.
Development looks like
It's
gonna
just
take
some
through the end of this year.
vegetable ramen bowl I get from
So you can
that
all look forward
place.
to playing The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword next
Oh,
year.
thanks, Cereal Wars.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Enjoy yourself.
You know, it's funny. I got this game on launch day and I just lost interest. And so then we see this and it's like, okay, this is what that was supposed to be like. Thanks, Cereal Wars, but I don't have an Instagram. Yeah, I don't have an Instagram. And I found it odd how much emphasis Nintendo is placing on this track. Probably just a little canned chili or something simple like that that I could heat up and eat and prepare very quickly in the middle of the stream. But once I just want to shrink this down and get it out the way, and then I can be back on camera again. Yeah, this trailer is actually, like, this music is actually originally from the original. It was from the final gameplay trailer right before the launch of Twilight Princess, is what this music is from. No, the ramen I get at Dojo, they put egg in it. I just want to...
The Legend of Zelda
Please let me drag this out the way,
Sword with
and then I
Wii Motion Plus is just the top line of our E3 story today. There's a lot more to come.
Sorry, my computer's really
Our
slow
goal
and I
is to
can't
provide new experiences
reach
for
past the
everyone.
little image in front of there.
For the moment, let's deal with what Mr. Miyamoto has said is the highest goal of game design.
There we
Entertainment
go.
that can cross culture and age and gender.
There we
Today,
go.
we want to first
Almost.
introduce you to titles that are squarely based on this goal of universal appeal. Let's start with the wide world of sports, where developers can choose between ultra-realism or over-the-top arcade fun.
So now please, I
In the
just need to
first
blow it up a
case,
bit.
The moves are real.
I can't wait till I have a computer that has more
characters
RAM
look
so I could
real,
do these things that
and
should
they're
only take like
real-life
5
stars
seconds,
on the package.
within 5 seconds and not several minutes.
We all know the names.
There we go.
Great franchises
Let's
like
blow that up a
Madden
bit.
NFL and Pro Evolution Soccer and MLB 2K.
There we go. And now,
On the other hand,
ta-da.
some prefer the
It's me again.
arcade style that began with NBA Jam.
Yeah, this is the return of NBA Jam. I don't
And
know if
in
they're still
fact,
making these games,
you'll
but this
see
is
a
the
new
first one, I think,
exclusive version for
since the
Wii
90s,
on the
if I
show
remember
floor.
correctly. Please go away, Image.
Over the years,
I don't
one
need you yet.
humble hero has taken us along to the hardwood and the clay
Man, you
court,
PC being all our
to the
fortunes?
fairway,
Yeah, let's hope
the
so.
diamond, and the pitch.
There we go, there we go.
And this year,
I'm back on camera.
Mario the Sportsman
Now I just have
stays
to bring
true
up
to
my
his roots,
interact window
but
again
swings
so I can...
back into action in some venues where even he's never competed before.
Yeah, this is Mario Sports Mix, which was a great surprise announcement. Just great to get all these sports out the way at once without having to. Yeah, like everyone in the store watching this live was like, this was a great move. I mean, rather epic music for a Mario sports game. Turn the volume down a little bit, but oh, no. We don't need it to be that big. Now I can't. There we go. That's more like it. There we go. Now it's nice and big. You don't even want a new PC? You like this one? Well, I mean, it's just, frankly, I got a computer that could do the bare minimum, that could get me back to I got this computer specifically to get me back to streaming. It was always a stopgap machine, So hopefully I'll be able to get together a more capable unit in the future, but it's not a priority.
And you'll be
I'd sooner probably move into a bigger apartment and stuff like that. Take care of that kind of stuff
You don't have
first.
to be a game expert to understand its potential popularity. But even among the experts, sometimes the common wisdom isn't so wise. Let me give you a few examples. Last year, you heard people predict that Wii momentum was starting to wane. Then, guess what? Last December in America, we set the all-time record for sales of any video game system of any kind in a single month.
Hey, oh no,
Others
we lost the
claim
ball that quick.
That all those casual Wii owners don't buy games.
Yeah, a stopgap? You could say, like, the Sega 32X could be seen as, like, an attempt at a stopgap, a sort of an intermediary, short-lived phase between the 16-bit generation and the next generation. You could say that, and that's a bad example of a stopgap, but it's like, or how, like, diesel locomotives could be seen as a bit of a stopgap, and, well, at least in certain countries have the strategy where it was...
Nearly as many people intend to buy a Wii.
You get you know, you go from steam locomotives, and the goal is to get full electrification. But in the meantime, until you can get the full electrification of the railway, you use, you know, diesel locomotives in the meantime. That kind of you could. No, of course, there's some railways, especially in North America, that are just sticking with diesel. But I'm not going to talk too much about. Don't get me started on trains. So.
But that simply isn't the case. The reason is the popularity of intermediate or bridge games that usher new players toward the world of gaming.
Woo! Okay. Oh, right down the gutter. Doggone.
New Super Mario Bros. Wii does that. Mario Kart has sold more than 22 million copies, and new Super Mario Bros. Wii more than 14
Yeah, so at this
copies
point, Mario Kart
around the world.
Wii has outsold the
Now,
Nintendo GameCube
I'd like
globally.
to show you our next bridge title that moves consumers along their gaming journey. It begins with the more than 177 million Mii characters created around
Alright.
the world. And every one of them is invited to play. Let me introduce you to Wii Party.
This game looks cool, but I never actually played it.
Party game for Wii that puts you in the middle of the action.
Yeah, I thought this game looked neat, and I never.
For everyone.
And you know what? I bet it wouldn't be hard to get, and I could play it on. I could just pop it right into my Wii U. So.
Including Board Game Island.
Yeah, I actually thought this looked kind of neat. I would have loved to play this with, you know, my grandma and my mom and my dad, back in those ye olde days of
All new house
living with
party
my parents
that put the party in your
and
living room.
having my grandma come over.
You'll interact with family and friends. To interact with the game.
13 party games, over 70 different
You got it
games,
free from Club Nintendo?
and all the Mii's you care to invite. Wii Party, coming this holiday.
Wii Party is yet another Nintendo game that will drive.
You know,
social
I don't know what happened to the guy who gave me that Wii U.
phenomenon for
And actually,
parties as well. Last year, that was proved by the breakthrough dance.
yeah, that guy seems to have vanished from the internet, and so I just wish the best for him.
Get up and get down again, only on Wii.
Yeah, we are going to turn down the volume for this whole section. Yeah, well, first off, not only does I never played a Just Dance game, they never did anything for me. I was never even in a party or at a friend's house and someone was playing it, like with Guitar Hero. I have no way of contacting him. I have no way of everything. Every form of contact information that I had for him was gone, and I no longer have. Well, I threw out the packaging years ago, and I got the system, so I don't have his street address either. And the person was, like I said in there, it was working at a fast food restaurant at the time. based on his social media at that point. So someone working a fast food salary decided to get me a Wii U, and I didn't ask for it. I almost did. I actually accepted it as a bet from someone else, because I thought they were just going to send me a dead bird or something.
News last year, a lot of you got jazzed in a different way, hearing about a more intense title, a new Golden Sun for Nintendo DS.
Golden Sun Dark Dawn was the final name. Yeah, there it is.
It's now subtitled Dark Dawn. You haven't heard or seen a lot since then, so let's fix that right now.
No, what do you? I'm not. I'm not sure how I made it sound mean. I'm just saying, like, I mean, I worked on well, it wasn't a fast food job, but I worked at a dollar store once, and I know what the kind of money you make at one of those entry-level jobs like that. And to put that much money aside for someone you've never even met before to ship internationally a video game system with games and accessories to them when they never even asked, I'm not pointing down. I'm saying that's incredible for you to have. Noah, the thing is, it's that I only accepted it for a bet. I had no reason to believe or trust that this person was actually going to send me a video game system. You have to think of all the, like, internet personalities that have had, like, online stalkers and have been doxxed, because I had to give this person my actual real life street address at the time. I didn't have a PO box or anything. And I'm like, this guy's gonna send me a dead bird. And you have to, and so, mind you, I had like close to 2,000, I had like 2,300 subscribers at the time. I have 2,000 and they shave off 2 or 3 every month or so. So I'm eventually going to get below 2,000. Like, my videos get a couple of dozen views. And it's not someone who particularly stood out to me as a viewer either. It's not someone who commented a lot or anything. It's not someone who I was online buddies with. No, it was a brand new Wii U, along with New Super Mario Bros. U, a Wii U Pro controller, and other accessories as well, and New Super Mario Bros. U. It was incredible, and that's the Wii U I've been streaming off of, using for all my streams of most of my Virtual Console stuff that so far.
Golden has an entirely
No, he probably liked my content. I'm absolutely sure of that. It's just that plus I had detractors at the time. So I had detractors at the time. I had trolls. I had people who did, like, I had someone who did like a 40-minute podcast on me where they accused me of supporting, the things they said about me were things where I could have hired a lawyer and genuinely, like, sued them for damages. It was the level of defamation they uttered against me, and it was so vile that I won't even repeat what they accused me of. So, and I responded to him by not responding, and they immediately flaked and apologized and were so sorry, and I went overboard. And the one thing I thought is one thing they said that interested me particularly is, you're really cool and relaxed, and your dreads are so much cooler than mine. And I'm like, oh, you have dreads too, huh? Too bad you never actually showed your face because you're a freaking coward, but, whatever. Yeah. Yeah, so I thought if someone like that, if they believe something like that about me, I can see them sending me, like, I don't know, like a dead bird or a rotten egg or something to try to, or something even more dangerous.
While
So
Golden Sun brings back a lot of golden memories for its legions of fans, to millions of other gamers, Golden has an entirely different meaning.
yeah, so here's this video actually leaked a couple of days before this.
Shooters of all time.
Set the standards for all video games in the future.
It was the first game that I could play multiplayer for 4 hours straight.
For me, it was the original. I mean, like, if you hooked it up now, I'd be down to play.
Let's say that after 13 years of gaming innovation, a new GoldenEye game is coming up.
Oh my god!
Why don't I turn that down? Because I know the GoldenEye music might trigger some some copyright protection things. I might get scared thinking we're watching the movie or something. I don't know. My favorite N64 color variant? I mean, I gotta go with the original black, because that's what I had. That was the de facto color. And actually, the fact that I was still I mean, I had Game Boy at this point, and I didn't, like... But when I first saw it, like, N64, like, on a poster somewhere, my first thought was that Nintendo was trying to copy Sega, because, like, the Super Nintendo and NES were white consoles that had corners on them. Then the Genesis, the various versions of the Genesis had smooth edges and were black. So I thought Nintendo was just copying Sega with the console design, having a black console with smooth corners on it. And then I learned the actual other benefits of the system. That it was more powerful, could do polygonal 3D and all that kind of stuff.
I remember it. You remember it. There are people
But I wish, you know what? I wish they made a gray Nintendo 64 more like the gray of the default controller.
If you've never experienced it, get ready for a landmark gaming experience.
Yeah, I saw that leaked a couple of years ago, and I think they're currently trying to negotiate how to between the various rights holders of the various aspects of the GoldenEye of that game, how they could possibly find a way to have it released again. Bonus stage time.
An entirely different kind of hero, whose global reach has spanned 8 decades. A mouse named Mickey. Our parents grew up with him. We grew up with him.
Yeah, but it's the fact that they have to, like...
will grow up with Mickey Mouse.
They have to negotiate with, like Ian Fleming's estate, MGM... They have to, like, Ian Fleming's estate, MGM, Nintendo, and Microsoft all have to come to some kind of agreement for that to happen. So there's a lot of moving parts.
And a new direction for this world-renowned icon. Ladies and gentlemen.
Hold on. Let's hear that again.
Please welcome Warren Spector, General Manager and Creative Director, Junction Point, and Adam Creighton, one of the producers of Disney, Epic Disney.
Disney, Epic Disney. This game had been rumored for a while, and at some point they released some concept art. A lot of people really doubted that Disney would ever actually greenlight this project.
Disney Interactive Studios' upcoming Wii exclusive title for this holiday season. The game is set in a world honoring 80 years of Disney creativity, populated by forgotten, retired, rejected characters, movie locations, and theme park attractions from Disney's past. Welcome to Wasteland.
Well, we've been streaming for 2 hours at this point.
And strange.
Yeah, I would be fine. I'll get the standard definition version and just run it on the Wii. I'm fine with that. But yeah, an HD remaster would be fantastic.
The land I'm exploring today is called Ventureland. It's what we call a quest zone, where you talk to characters, learn about quests, buy tools and supplies. Here, for example, Adam is talking to Wasteland's version of Smee, learning what Mickey has to do.
Yeah, who would have thought, like, we could get the guy behind Deus Ex to put his full heart and soul into a Mickey Mouse game, and thank goodness they did. Now, I never played it, but I heard it was good. It didn't quite live up to the darkness of the initial concept art, but they came as close as Disney was willing to allow them to, I think.
Including the Swiss Family Robinson treehouse and the Tiki Room. Some
Just
of the
want to
Disney
check my
inspirations can be hard to spot. I mean, Wasteland is really full of forgotten stuff.
My drop frames real
but
quick.
Identifying it all is part of the fun.
Yawn.
One thing is for sure, though. No one will have any trouble identifying our hero, Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, we're doing good.
For decades, he's been one of the biggest movie stars
We're
in
doing
the world.
fine.
A television celebrity. Constant presence at theme parks, friend and teacher to our kids. But for all the success he's achieved, it's always felt to me, at least, that he hasn't quite become the video game hero he deserves to be.
Yeah, early on in, like, with those Sega games on that Castle of Illusion, that was fantastic. From what I hear, I never got to play it myself, but even back in the early '90s, I'd hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, Mickey Mouse on Genesis is such a good game. It's as good as Sonic the Hedgehog." I never played it myself. And I do have that on the Genesis Mini. If I don't have it on the Genesis Classic, then I have the actual cartridge. I have one or the other.
Of his cartoon being. Paint and paint thinner. Using paint and thinner the way Adam is here,
and put that ball right in
players can
play,
erase
put it to work rescuing
objects,
Pauline,
walls,
and it's not going to
plants, even
happen.
the ground. Or they can restore everything to beautiful painted glory. In other words, players can dynamically change the game world to save it. But
There was a Master of Illusion game, I think, on 3DS. I played the demo for it, and that's the only game in that sort of lineage that I ever actually played myself.
How you change your world, how you interact with other characters. That changes how the world looks, of course, but also how characters treat you, what they tell you, what they don't tell you, and how each character's story ends. Do you solve problems by using the power of thinner to erase and remove obstacles? Or do you solve problems with the power of paint, the creative power? Do you use paint or cleverness to turn enemies into friends, or do you simply defeat them? Do you take time and use precious resources to solve everyone's individual problems, or do you focus exclusively on saving Wasteland from the enemies that would destroy it? These are just a few of the options available to players, each with its own rewards and its own costs. At the end of the day, we want each player to feel like he or she has crafted a unique experience based on the choices made and the consequences of those choices.
Yeah, no, I just remember standing in the, it was around this point that standing in the Nintendo World Store on the second floor of that building in Rockefeller Center, I felt like this is a great E3 for Nintendo. This is a great presentation.
Now that you've had a taste of a quest zone, let's check out another kind of map now. You see, there are 3 location types in Disney Epic Mickey, a game that combines the best of adventure, platform, and role-playing games. There are places called action zones, where you'll engage in missions that can affect the way your story unfolds and change the lives of the characters you interact with. You'll have to visit the Disney Interactive Studios booth or the Nintendo booth to learn more about those, about Mickey's missions. There's plenty more to see than we're showing you here.
How about
now,
right down into the
let's watch
gutter?
as Adam
I
takes
knocked
you
that
over
in there
the
myself,
screen
actually.
to enter our 3rd location type. What you're about to see is called a travel zone, and it takes Mickey from one part of the wasteland to another.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of. I would expect that most people watching this have probably already seen it, but there was some great stuff in this E3. And I just want to point this out right here.
The cartoon that introduced Mickey to the world. There are many more
this
cartoons that appear
cartoon, Steamboat Willie, it is public domain in Canada, but not in the United States, because Disney is a corporate menace and paid off our government to get special privileges to extend their copyrights indefinitely. And only recently has there been any talk of revoking those special privileges, because Disney built their legacy based on reinterpreting public domain folk tales and stories. And now that their stuff is getting old enough to start entering the public domain, now they want to get special privileges where their stuff doesn't have to enter in the public domain so other people could iterate on it the way they iterated on public domain material to build their animation and multimedia legacy, and it's really outrageous. But Winnie the Pooh is entering the public domain later this year, and they're already planning a horror movie based on Winnie the Pooh, which is going to be fantastic.
For the very first time with our hero, Mickey Mouse. Thanks to everyone at Disney and Nintendo who made Disney Epic Mickey.
Yeah, sorry, I spoiled that whole platforming session by ranting and raving about copyright law and everything, but
Thank you, Warren and Adam. And by the way, if you want more insight on the thinking behind Disney Epic Mickey, you can find an exclusive interview with Warren conducted by our global president, Mr. Satoru Iwata, at e3.nintendo.com.
yeah, back when Mr. Iwata would do the Iwata Asks interviews.
Of course, keeping popular franchises fresh.
Here comes a big one right here. Unfortunately, this one leaked, but I did not. Wasn't listening to the rumors. I tried to stay spoiler free for this, so this was a surprise to me.
Developer named Masahiro Sakurai.
Oh no! This is something else actually. No, this is. I know what this
Mr.
is.
Sakurai has become famous in the gaming world for creating such diverse franchises as Smash Brothers and Kirby. It would be hard to conjure up anything more soft and cuddly than Kirby. And yet somehow, he's managed to work his way into the hearts of a lot of hardened gamers. They know Kirby's got game.
Now, this was a magical moment right here. This was a magical moment. They did. I never played this game. I never played it. But they did put it on 3DS eventually. This was a magical. Oh man, well, that moment I paused on. I didn't mean to make you look bad there, Reggie. This was a magical moment because this is the first home console Kirby game since Kirby 64. And there was that Kirby game they were working on GameCube that got canceled, and certain elements of it were reworked into Return to Dreamland. But this is the first home console Kirby since Nintendo 64. And this is one of those moments that, like, the tears didn't fall down my cheek, but they did well up in my eyes. Because I don't have no personal passion for Kirby. But that moment where Nintendo introduces something that is, that's quintessential to the essence of that franchise, that character, that game. Where you see it and you know instantly, that's Kirby. That's quintessential Kirby. That's quintessential Zelda. That's quintessential Mario. And at the same time, that's Zelda as we've never seen it before. That's Mario as we've never seen it before. That's Zelda as we've never seen it before. Oh no, this isn't the GameCube game. This is an entirely different project. In fact, this originally started as an original IP, and they felt Kirby worked so well for it that they reworked it into a Kirby game early on in development. And the initial character ended up being the character that is called Prince Fluff. So, now the GameCube game did not. Kirby's Return to Dreamland on Wii was not a resurrection of that game, but some ideas, certain mechanics they were going to use in that game appeared in that, from what I understand. But it's not like they just took that game and just, let's just start working on it again. They finished input on a GameCube. That's not the case. But this is one of those moments where I really felt like this is what I felt when they revealed Kirby's Epic Yarn was on par with when they revealed Metroid Other M, when they revealed Twilight Princess. One of those really magic E3 moments for me.
So we decided it was time for a return engagement. But questions were raised. Should a new game be cut from the same cloth, stitched together from previous work? Should Kirby stick to his knitting? Or spin a yarn in a way that yarn has never been spun before? My friends, the answers are right here.
No, I know we're about to see Kirby. We were not expecting this. And to think this was not even in HD. And the way they're using the strings to pull the zippers and pulling apart parts of the environment, it was just so great what they did with this. And I remember so many dude bro gamers getting so angry when this game was winning Best Graphics Awards at E3 this year. They're like, how could this game get Best Graphics? There are not even any guns in it. It's something people actually were saying, unironically. The terminally hardcore dude bro gamers that were mad over this game. It was hilarious watching them get upset over this. And the music too, everything about this reveal was fantastic. And this is probably the most enchanted I've ever been by the reveal of the game, only to not even buy or play the actual title. Yeah, the dragon made of pipe cleaners. Come on, that is fantastic. And I love my comfy games. I've got to play this. I've got to get my hands on this one. I've got to get my hands on that game, as the jock dude said in the original Zelda commercial for North America.
Even with its new art style, the most obvious difference about Kirby's Epic Yarn is not
the 3D. I'm sure it's probably going to be minimal. I don't expect, especially a lot of those later 3DS releases, when they started just porting stuff to 3DS, they often didn't even bother with 3D. So I wouldn't get my hopes up.
This fall. Less than a year ago, Dragon Quest IX from Square Enix debuted in Japan exclusively on Nintendo DS. It's become a phenomenon, selling 4.2 million copies.
Where's my... Oh, yeah, here it is.
This
What's it say?
epic adventure, with you helping to decide its path, can make claims to being among the deepest and richest experiences ever launched on Nintendo DS. You could describe it just by the numbers. With 120 mini quests and additional Wi-Fi mini quests, over 300 monsters, over 900 items to customize your character, and an infinite number of randomly generated treasure maps. But that would be selling it short. What fueled the craze in Japan is the interaction between players.
Yeah, this was that tag mode became a huge deal at this point. In fact, I heard it was the popularity of tag mode in these Dragon Quest games that led to them developing Street Pass on 3DS.
And the social element doesn't end when you shut your DS. In tag mode, the game will independently seek out other nearby players, quietly adding new characters and new maps to your adventure. And when I say deep, let me add this. Chico, maybe the top Dragon Quest fan in our treehouse, has now logged more than 140 game hours. And she feels like she's just getting started.
Alright.
Gamers new to the franchise can
I'm
get
just messing with
involved
some
in
stuff in the
contests.
background, sorry.
Watch out.
Just adding some more videos to the playlist. I did not fully form this playlist like I
Dragon Quest
honestly
IX,
probably should have.
exclusive to Nintendo DS, arrives here in the US in just 26 days. And then, on the last day of August, passionate players on Wii will experience a signature moment with an old friend.
Yeah, I kind of lucked out with, yeah, I lucked out with Street Pass because I was in college at the time and I lived in the New York City metropolitan area, which is probably the only place in the US that it was useful. Yeah, I wish this, was better than it turned out to be. Yeah, because I feel like this is going to be... Yeah, later they added up to 100, which I appreciated a lot. And then they added those things where certain Wi-Fi hotspots that were in public would, like, collect all the Street Pass users, all the 3DS users that passed it. So then when someone else passed it, they'd get their Street Pass even though they weren't together there at the same time, which helped a lot.
Lost is a sense of isolation and exploration that has always been...
Yeah, they kind of did lose that, which is kind of the problem a lot of people had with this game, but...
Nintendo and Team Ninja have also pushed the Metroid franchise down emotional corridors it's never traveled before.
Yeah, not quite.
Samus returns when Metroid Other M for Wii
Samus returns. He'll see. Look, he knew. He knew even back then.
As you know, Retro Studios in Texas has produced some great Metroid titles. But when they said they were ready for something new, we asked them to take one of the most treasured franchises in video game history.
Here it comes.
And to make it magic again. If you listen, you can hear it coming.
You know, I had Donkey Kong Country. I got it in 2001 with my Super NES. And it's funny, because when I got Donkey Kong Country in 2001, it felt like an ancient game, right? But looking back now, yeah. Okay, so hold on. Yeah, so in 2001 when I got my Super Nintendo with one of the games I had was Donkey Kong Country, it felt like that game was ancient to me. Because I didn't play it back in 94, but I knew of it. And I was a Sega gamer at the time, and my thinking at the time was, wait, why am I supposed to be excited about a 32X for the Genesis, an expensive add-on, when Super Nintendo is doing Donkey Kong Country and Star Fox, which have graphics that are similar or better than what they're doing on 32X, and those don't even use any expensive add-ons. But anyway, in 2001, when I was playing this game, I'm like, wow, we're playing this old, like, Super Nintendo, this ancient game. And today, in 2022, that would be the equivalent of playing a game from 2015. So, yeah, like... So, like, Super Mario 3D World is longer ago now than the original Donkey Kong Country was in 2001 when I got my Super Nintendo.
We're going back to the jungle this holiday.
Man, your voice is cracking a bit there, Reggie.
With the names we've talked about today, Donkey Kong...
What a strong showing from Nintendo this year.
Kirby and Metroid, you might find your game memories sliding into the past. But we're going to close today by throwing you in the other direction, far into the future.
Here we go. Here we go. Hang on to your butts, everybody.
It was Super Mario 64 that first moved us into fully rendered game worlds. It was the Wii Remote.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Serial Wars. I do what I can.
And into a new world of game control. And today, as I mentioned at the outset, we're not just raising the bar.
Thanks, y'all. You'll make it worth it. To try to make up a little bit for the lack of a proper E3 this year. So thank you for spending your time with me. And I won't be, oh, I got the, Serial Wars, I got the little train emote going on. That's awesome. Now, I'm not, oh yeah, I never,
about 3D in your living room.
so that's my next stream. It's going to be the 24th. I'm not streaming this coming week. I'll be working with a client on a very big project, so I'll have to cut off on the stream for next week, which is even though I typically wouldn't. But on Friday the 24th at 6 o'clock p.m., I'm going to be playing Sonic the Hedgehog on Game Gear and on Master System. So that's a Friday night stream. And then, yeah, I can see the train emote. And then the next day after that, on Saturday, I'll be playing Sonic on Game Gear. Then we're going to be doing an Amazon watch party of the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, which is now available to do Amazon watch parties with. And then I'll play more Sonic afterwards, and we'll close the stream out then.
In fact, we think there's a better way. A solution that lets you take 3D along with you wherever you go. With beautiful game content
let's launch this ball and
first day on the market. And maybe, best of all, no classes.
I hope, let me turn this audio down a little bit. There we go. That's more like it. Yeah, I appreciate the, You know, when is that new Avatar movie coming out? Like, I know Avatar is very easy to make fun of as like a movie, but I didn't take it that seriously to begin with. I thought it was just supposed to be a cheesy, like a science fiction a spectacle where I don't have to think too hard and I can just enjoy the imaginative visuals and the cheesy plot and just turn my brain off for a couple hours. And I had a blast in that sense. So then, but when people, I guess that there are some people that they saw Avatar and it blew their brain out of their heads. And there were forums where people were talking about like, oh, I'm considering suicide because real life just pales in comparison to Avatar. And I'm like, oh boy, like I have I guess as a creative person who's always thinking of imaginative things that no one's ever seen or thought of before, I guess I take it for granted how to the extent to which something like that could capture someone's attention. Mr. Iwata, the quiet, polite man of all of Earth, and every time he comes on stage, I have to turn up the volume.
I can't wait for you to try this. As you can see, it has 2 screens.
New trailer didn't have the type of advancement you accepted visually after so many years, but you enjoy the series. I didn't watch the trailer. I'm not going to bother watching the trailer because I don't watch trailers for things I know I'm already going to go and see. Now, one thing I found interesting, I was in Best Buy like not too long after like Avatar came out. It was like an HD DVD or a Blu-ray or something of Avatar running on this like $10,000 TV they had at Best Buy, and the TV was so high quality that it made the movie look worse, because the movie, the definition of the screen was such high quality that it made the CG stuff really stick out compared to the real life physical stuff. And it made it, the TV was so good, it made the movie look faker. It was the strangest thing ever.
Let me introduce you.
And mind you, that's not something that would distract me from enjoying the movie if I sat down to watch it.
We have installed a 3D depth slider to adjust the 3D effect. You can maximize it.
And honestly, I feel I'm one of the only people on my original model 3DS. I played with the 3D on like 80% of the time, frankly. I actually, and even on a moving train, I was fine looking at that 3D. I have the kind of, like, people's experience with 3D illusions vary, but for me, I can very easily perceive three-dimensional illusions.
However, we realized that finger marks.
I remember in like 97 or 98, we drove like 2 or 3 hours away to this store, and they had like a chair set up, and you could view an HD television. And it was running on, like, I think D-Theater VHS. Like, the HD material they had was running on D-Theater VHS, because they were years away from DVD being able to hold high-definition video in a digital disc format. So they actually used the D-Theater, which is a high-definition variant of VHS. And it was the first time we saw HD in person.
So impactful is not just the 3D imaging, but the nature of the graphics. It's been 6 years since we launched Nintendo DS. So while we've now added 3D, we've also made improvement to the graphics capability of this hardware itself.
Now, I remember when before they announced that 3DS, that there's going to be a successor to DS called 3DS, we're going to show it at E3 this year. Before they said all that, I remember there were rumors of a new DS system, and I was talking to, actually it was Rob999 from the Metroid reaction video I showed you. And I was saying, like, oh, I want to see a new DS. People were like, no, I don't, like, they have DS Lite and DSi and DSi XL. I don't want any more I don't want any more versions of DS. And what I'm saying is, no, I'm not talking about another version of Nintendo DS. I'm talking about, like, the successor to DS, the Nintendo DS2. And it's something that and with several people I was having conversations, and they had a hard time understanding what I meant. They thought a new DS meant like a new iteration or variation of the DS that launched in 2004. I'm talking about a whole new generation, which is what 3DS was.
Next, let's consider control. We've installed what we call the slide pad, designed.
It ended up being called the Circle Pad eventually.
We've also integrated both a motion sensor and a gyro sensor.
I keep forgetting that that tilt sensor and gyroscope were even in the 3DS.
Nintendo DS and Wii, a number of new game ideas will be born to take advantage of these new control mechanisms. Of course, it has compatibility with Nintendo DSi. Nintendo 3DS has a camera too. But look here, there's not one, but 2 camera lenses on the outside. What this means is you can also take photos and view them in 3D. Nintendo 3DS is a mass-market device that lets you take and enjoy 3D.
There we go. Hank is saying he didn't appreciate that Nintendo used TN and IPS screens randomly in a lot of 3DS systems. Didn't find out about it until years later. It should have specified the... You know, I really didn't even consider that myself.
Nintendo 3DS is also capable of displaying 3D Hollywood movies. We are not announcing any specific plans this week, but at our booth, you will find demonstrators showing you 3D movie trailers for releases from Disney, Warner Brothers, and DreamWorks.
And that did not end up happening.
You can see DreamWorks How to Train Your Dragon.
I mean, like, the trailers at E3 happened, and they put some trailers out on the system, but they never put 3D Hollywood movies on the 3DS.
Playing in 3D on Nintendo 3DS. To our knowledge, this is the first time any such 3D content has been demonstrated without the need to wear glasses. However, in the end, gamers care most about games. You may remember an announcement we made in January 2009, establishing a joint venture called Project Sora.
And there was lots of speculation about Project Sora this whole time.
Today, I can announce that Project Sora was actually established for one reason: to create a game designed specifically for Nintendo 3DS.
We're able to.
We felt such a project deserved to feature a character who is already familiar to many of you, especially if you've been playing games for a long time.
So, at the second they showed Medusa, I knew this was going to be Kid Icarus.
Sorry to keep you waiting.
Yeah, Cree Summers ended up voicing Medusa in the final version.
That's the miracle of flight. But I can only maintain it for 5 minutes. After that, your wings will burn up and you'll fall.
The underworld army is attacking the town.
We must protect them. Hit. Prepare for landfall.
I didn't play much of this game, but I did appreciate the extent to which it really took full advantage of everything the system possibly had to offer. Yeah, this game, like, I don't know, it's funny because, like, for some reason, a lot of people thought the controls were bad because you had to hold the system in one hand and the stylus in the other, but that made no sense. There's every DS game that used the stylus had you hold the system in one hand and the stylus in the other. It's the way they implemented the way you rotated it that made it awkward. And then, like, Yahtzee, it was a creator I like their stuff back then. I don't even know if they're still making stuff now. But Yahtzee kept, like, harping on the fact that, oh, you can't even play it on the go because you need to use a stand. You don't need to use the stand. The stand is just comfortable when you're sitting on a table. And I used that stand for the rest of... Whenever I was playing Nintendo DS in a place with a table, I'd always use that stand. That was a great stand. But you didn't need the stand to play the game. But Yahtzee started this thing where people were going off, oh, the game's terrible because you need a stand to play it, and you didn't need the stand. Like, you just didn't need it. It was nice to have, and it was nice to have for other games, but... Like, Metroid Prime Hunters on DS worked fine, and that also had you aiming with the stylus and the touchscreen. It's the way they implemented it in this game that made it awkward.
Gaming world. And therefore, you have much better ability to navigate them.
And of course, at this point, people were already saying, "Oh, the NGP, I forgot if the Vita was fully revealed or if it was still the NGP at this point, or if they'd even revealed the NGP as it became known." But no, it was afterwards because they said NGP, Nintendo got pwned because the PlayStation Vita is going to destroy the 3DS because the Vita has better graphics. Gee, where have we heard this one before? Didn't we just go through a DS versus PSP generation that went exactly that same way?
It will then automatically communicate with them.
Do they still make good games? Oh, who, Nintendo or someone else?
Remember, Nintendo used a somewhat similar function. But in that case, communications were limited because if those owners started playing another game, the communication stopped. Nintendo 3DS works differently. The hardware itself supports automatic communication regardless of what software is being played. Nintendo 3DS can also communicate using the internet through Wi-Fi access point. Owners can navigate.
Yeah, Street Pass was great because it really gave the Street Pass combined with the Game Coin system really gave motivation to bring the system with you as often as possible.
New stages, new quests, ghost data, and the new rankings have already been downloaded. And we will provide this kind of very unique communication service in a way that can be used.
I don't buy that. I might buy, if I buy 5 modern retail video games in a year, it's a lot for me anyway. So I'm not, for most game droughts in the context of Nintendo, I really was never hurting much.
Now, let me conclude today by returning the topic of games. Before Nintendo DS and Wii were launched, the majority of people in our industry cannot believe that these unprecedented ideas from Nintendo would work. So, in those cases, it was our job to build an install base.
I have to crank up my personal volume louder because Mr. Iwata is so quiet.
Own first-party software. Very fortunately, the situation is different this time. We at Nintendo have launched many hardware systems. But in this case, I feel we will enjoy our biggest launch support ever from third party. Of course, internally, we are developing several kinds of games. For example, Mr. Miyamoto is working on a 3D version of Nintendo, and you are going to find it contains some...
The last one I brought was Kirby in the Forgotten Land. And this is... Nintendogs Plus Cat started the meme of Nintendo adding just plus something at the end of in the games.
But I like to spend more time introducing Nintendo 3DS software coming from third parties. Behind me, you see a partial list of companies who intend to publish software for Nintendo 3DS. I cannot name them all, but I do want to draw your attention to several of them. Activision and DJ Hero, Level 5, Square Enix, including Kingdom Hearts, THQ, Electronic Arts, including Madden, NFL, Tecmo Koei Games, Capcom and Resident Evil, Warner Brothers Games.
Yeah, it's not going to come down in price, unfortunately, so you could see if you want to try to grab it pre-owned or whatever.
And Konami with Metal Gear Solid.
Yes.
To all of you developers and publishers, I want you to know that I'm truly grateful for the support you are offering. Thank you very much. And to conclude my section today, I'd like to have some of these developers themselves describe their reaction and their experiences on Nintendo 3D. Thank you for your attention, and please enjoy the show.
You know, here's our, just like with DS, we get our sizzle reel here of the developers saying how great it is.
Expletives in a Nintendo media briefing?
前情報全くなかったですか。とにかく座ってこのスクリーン見てくださいって言って突然 3D になったんで
Brilliant was my first reaction.
I saw some objects floating in the air, and it actually made me want to pick it up, which I thought was really impressive for such a small.
No, like honestly, there were parts where, like some of the trophies in Mario Kart 7, and some of the puzzles in the Street Pass like puzzle swap thing, they didn't just look 3D. They looked like a hologram projecting out above the screen. It was ridiculous how good some of that stuff could look. Some of those 3D illusions.
やっぱりそこにこう奥行きが出たおかげで旗はなびいてないといけないし、メタルギアソリッドというゲームをですね、3D で携帯するとどうなるかっていうのを今、実験をしてます。ジャングルなんですよね。で、手前に物があって奥に物があってその奥にもっていう。
レジェンドイーブルのシリーズ、これは、完全オリジナルです。ゲームとしてそこに秘められた謎であったりとかですね。
Yeah, this wasn't too long before he left Capcom, if I understand correctly.
壁の奥に何があるんだろうとか、このタンスの奥に何があるんだろうみたいなことっていう意識させることができると思うんですね。
Having all three types of inputs at your disposal, touchscreen, D-pad, and now the analog controller.
It allows us to have more precision in the controls of our character.
Well, frankly, I think Nintendo mastered the Grasses 3D. It's just that I think there hasn't just been enough interest in 3D to make it worth it for television engineers to create a way for that Glasses 3D to work on a large screen. I think the technology is perfectly there. It's just that people don't care enough about 3D.
What could not be cooler than that? Who would not want to be a part of that future?
Thank you, Mr. Iwata, and thanks as well to all of our development partners. When we began this morning, we promised something for everyone, from Zelda to Mario.
What a great E3 this was.
To Donkey Kong, Mickey to Dragon Quest, Golden Sun to Golden Eye, and Metroid to Kid Icarus.
What a...
I hope you found something you're looking forward to. But we also talked about new experiences. And we believe nothing at E3 will deliver on that like Nintendo 3DS.
I mean, of all these games, only Metroid Other M ended up really kind of severely disappointing.
Transformed. What's added, literally, is a new dimension. All of you watching this on e3.nintendo.com, please stay connected because we've got more news and additional content coming up momentarily.
What a great E3. This was the bomb. This was a bomb E3. This was probably the last really amazing stage show. Next year was good too. Next year was good too.
On Nintendo 3DS.
So 9, 10. This is 2010.
Experience it, you'll understand.
I paid full price for it. And the thing is, I was disappointed by it, but I wasn't like blown like disastrously disappointed by it.
Try and communicate it a very different way. Let's see how this works.
This is a great video that they did, by the way. And they knew, at this point, they were vividly aware of Reggie Iwata and Miyamoto's meme status. And at this point, they're just deliberately playing into it. This must have been so much fun to film this. So they're hinting at Star Fox 64 and Ocarina of Time. And then Reggie walks out like, what is all this stuff? That right, that shot right there of him laughing at the 3DS, like... And then he comes, watch this, when he comes out on stage, his jacket's gonna be all burned up. It's great.
Well, that sure felt.
It must have been fun. We have to make a fake burned up jacket for Reggie to
I'm
wear.
not so sure it did for you yet.
Reggie's got a little bit of a belly on him. He's at this point, but he's busy working hard, so I should be one to talk.
The impact of Nintendo 3DS, but in the end, there's nothing like the real thing.
And I say that very slight. I'm not saying he's actually like. I say that in jest, of course, because we just had the thing yesterday where he was like, oh, you know, about his Reggie's BMI and all that. Have I seen the fan-made 4K remake of Ocarina of Time? How wild! It's wild. I'll take a look at it at some point, but yeah, that's interesting.
Travel probably calls for a tour guide.
And what these people had on their DS screens, some of those ended up being used as Street Pass Me Plaza puzzle swap puzzles.
Here's how it's going to work. Our demonstrators are equipped with Nintendo 3DS devices.
And they all happen to be women.
Video game characters and video game environments appear in that new dimension. It's 3D right in your hands. So, for the moment, I ask you to please stay seated while they work their way out to you.
Actually, I just thought of something.
On Nintendo 3DS will take place just on the other side of the camera riser behind you. The 3D sensation should be immediate. It requires nothing but the naked eye. No more glasses.
Yes, but they're women and they're not like in risque outfits. They're in like reasonable professional outfits. You know, it's not exploitative as it could be, you know what I mean?
Just a taste. But be assured, live gameplay will be available at the Nintendo booth all week long. Finally, also for those of you here on site, there's one other opportunity. Since everyone isn't going to be able to hold the Nintendo 3DS here at the same time, so we're importing another element of our Nintendo booth right here to the Nokia Theater. In front of you here, rising from the floor, are multiple gameplay stations to let you become the first people ever to put the playable The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword through its paces.
All right.
So,
yeah, that's how they redeemed the bad demo at the start.
The shuttles that will bus you to the next event won't begin leaving until 11 o'clock. And for everyone, when this week is over, we trust that you'll agree that Nintendo has once again raised the bar. Thanks again. Have a great week. Enjoy Nintendo 3DS, and please enjoy E3.
Yep, so that was their 2010, probably their best physical stage show, aside from 2006 and 2004. 6, 4, and... Hold on. Hold on. We're not doing E3 2011 yet. Because what we've got here... Yeah, let's do our 3DS my coverage of the 3DS launch event. Wow, I had a flip phone back then.
We're at Nintendo World, and there are people here. They're basically just here. They're just tourists. They're not here for. Might be either getting in to get into the store when it opens, or for some taping of some show over there. And maybe
no launch line.
Yeah, no launch line. So we're going to head over to Best Buy right now. I know I said Nintendo World.
That's just. It's a few tones. It's a revoicing of a public domain MIDI file of Amadeus Mussorgsky's pictures of an exhibition, what is called the Promenade motif. That's what that music is. That's for my theme.
We're at Best Buy right now. There may be like what, not even 30.
This was some of the last stuff I recorded with this. The camera I'm using for this. This is 2010. This is the same camera that I used, I think, to record. The same camera I used to record back in like 2010, actually.
And that's pretty much all that's going on right now. What time is it? 8:27.
Yeah, a flip phone, and the wallpaper is the map of the Unova region from Pokemon Black and White.
Like it was nothing. What time is it? It's like 9:45. Here with Pete, we just got a new blanket on top of our space blankets.
That was the coldest late March I ever remember. It was like March 21st, I think, or something like that.
Black over here. They're gonna have 2 screens up there. All this area over in there, that's all gonna be the demo area. There's a food truck in the distance over there.
That was like the coldest late March I ever remember. And then, like, it was warm for like 2 hours while the sun had lined up with the street we were on, so we were getting direct sunlight. Once it went behind the building, it went back to being freezing. It was terrible. Like the Wii launch in late November was warmer than that, back in 2006.
We're doing all right. We're hanging in there.
Yeah, there's Reggie talking to all his people.
So we just got a acknowledgement by Reggie. He came and spoke to us for a moment, and right now he's talking to all his media people. I think he's going to be on that stage. So I'm going to take a closer shot of Reggie. Update, they moved us on the line. We're actually right where Reggie was standing. We're talking to his people before. It is, what is it? It's like 10:30.
Is that Major Nelson? I don't know who or what Major Nelson is, so...
Down there. And there's a bus with a dirty old man on it. On the side, not on the bus itself. So you can see. And they sort of have this in this cordoned off area. And that's about it. That's all that's going on right now.
Oh. Yeah, this is a last-minute edition, but after all the 3DS, you know, the reveal of 3DS, I thought this was some... It's not how often am I going to have a chance to show this and have it be relevant to the content of the stream, right? So...
Oh, it just disappeared. So I got it just in time. So 12 out... Oh, there it is again. 12
those little glass panes on the sticks, those are actually... Oh, Major Nelson is an Xbox spokesperson? Oh yeah, I remember now. No, that wasn't him.
Enjoying ourselves nonetheless. And we got more people coming online minute after minute, and I'll see you soon. I don't know what time it is, but we just got some music going, and I'm still down here.
Hopefully this doesn't trigger any copyright things.
The sun is still with us. As soon as the sun goes behind that building, it's going to get a hell of a lot colder. But until then, compared to this morning, it's like being out on the beach on a sunny day. So, no complaints, and wine so far. The demo station's over there. They have searchlights. Yeah. All right. Video up. Cancel for now.
Oh. There's just a still photo of me. Wow, I have a Pokewalker on my jacket. That really captures the time frame for sure.
Hey guys, I'm out here at the Nintendo 3DS launch event, the official North American launch event at Best Buy in Union Square in New York City in Manhattan. I'm number 19 in line, and I've got my bracelet here. And the line goes down pretty far. I got here about 8 o'clock. It was mad cold earlier, but now it's a lot better because like the sun's out. But it's gonna go behind that building soon. It might get a lot colder.
Yeah, my mom crocheted that for me back in 2005. So bless her. Thanks, Mom.
Still don't want to try it until I get my own. They got the music going. They've got the screens up there. And they're about to come down the line and hand out the 3DS bags. And say hi. And, yeah, he's not. Yeah, before he was freezing. We've got our blanket here, our space blanket, and yeah.
And it's funny, for some reason, in like 2011, they started making official Minish Cap, like official mass-produced Minish Cap hats. So I don't know why they waited that long to make an official Eslo.
I'll maybe post some more videos later. What is it? What time is it? Like 2 something? 3? 1:15. Oh, 1:15. So yeah, so that's what's going on here at the Union Square Best Buy right now. And thank you for. Hey guys, they are 9 hours and 21 minutes left.
Man.
And it's getting a little cooler now that the sun is passed behind that building, but we're hanging on, and we're having a good time.
Yeah, the food truck gave away free tacos. It was neat.
Yeah, like 9 hours, 17 minutes to go. We're just gonna basically just walk down the line and just see what's going on. See if they're serving food.
And even at this point, I really didn't have the capabilities to upload or stream or anything like that. Like, I wasn't able to upload any of this stuff. Like, the only things I was able to put on Twitter...
I'm not looking at that until it's time.
I took some photos with my flip phone, and there was like... There's a way you could set it up so if you texted your photos to a certain number, it would link to your Twitter account and post them there. That's the only way I was able to tweet and photos and stuff from the line.
Down around the corner, so I'm gonna go take a look at that right now. All right, I'm in the park itself right now.
Yeah, and like, this was 2011, right? Yeah, so even in early March 2011, flip phones were still very common. I had one. Like, even around then, and it was around 2012-13 that flip phones really seemed to go away in my experience. It's a great moment of that conversation to capture. No, they're like modern Nokia candy bar phones that they make. I am tempted to switch from my smartphone that I have. I'm tempted to switch to a little Nokia candy bar and maybe get like an iPod Touch if I want to do any more complex Wi-Fi stuff while I'm out on the go. Because not having to carry this big clonking thing around is so liberating. This is Reggie's high school yearbook photo. Someone posted it all over the area. With the music, that really nails it. Yeah, I'm gonna mute. Yeah, I'm definitely mute. I'm gonna turn the volume down on this part. Is getting a little too few many copyrighted songs. Yeah, so sorry. Oh, here I'm narrating again.
Distributed hand warmers to us. Hand warmers.
I forgot about this. This is awesome.
Warmers. Yeah, they just distributed hand warmers to us all.
Could have used these a couple hours ago.
We could have used these this morning, but when we get closer to midnight, we know it's definitely going to be mad cold. I got 2 pairs here. 2 I'm gonna put in my socks for my feet, and 2 I'm gonna put in my gloves. It's not too cold now, especially not compared to this morning very early. So Nintendo certainly does care about their fans. They've got an ample supply of these.
And then at the Wii U launch, they gave away grilled cheese sandwiches, which was awesome.
What's going on? Yeah, so yeah, just a minor distraction.
Yeah, they gave away beanies, but they did not give them away the way they were supposed to. They were supposed to put the beanies. They were supposed to put each of the promo items in a backpack and then give the first people in line the backpack. Instead, they started tossing them out into the crowd and causing a near stampede where someone almost got hurt.
And that's all that's going on.
Who was like using crutches. And because of that, like the Nintendo people were outraged. They were like on the phone with people like at Best Buy corporate, like, what are your people doing? You're like ruining our event. And they never did an event at Union Square Best Buy like this again. The Wii U launch after this was over at Rockefeller Center. And the reason they did it at Best Buy was because it was a lot more expensive to do it at Rockefeller Plaza, even though they had the retail store there. But after this, they're like, no, we're not working with Best Buy. We'll pay to do it at Rockefeller Plaza.
Throwing them out like they were garbage into the crowd, like hundreds of lanyards, dozens of hats, a bunch of bags. It was really crazy, and they have a bunch more. Hopefully they don't choose to give them out right behind me, and I fear for getting trampled for a Nintendo hat. So that's what's going on now, and the sun is beginning to set now. It's getting a little darker, and got some psychedelic stuff going on the wall there.
Somebody take it, please. Take the pretzels. Throw it away for them.
Yeah, they're good. And that's all that's going on right now. I'll talk to you close to the launch. I got to preserve my battery life. Got to save my battery life for Reggie if he comes out. So that's it for now. See you close to the launch. 3DS, 3DS, 3DS.
Wait a second.
3DS. Coming around, and everyone is rushing to
Wait, hold on.
the line area to get
Hold on.
t-shirts.
Wow, this is a 4x... Wait a second, I need to switch to here. This video is 4x3. I would actually cut off part of the video. I didn't mean to do that.
They were giving out t-shirts. Hi. How you doing? I'm doing good.
I remember from the launch event and you wore that hat.
Yes, thank you.
Good to see you again.
I still have your copy of Blue Ocean Strategy you signed for me.
Cool. Reggie, you got a great vision for Nintendo. Keep it up.
That was such a cool moment. It's like, are you kidding me? He like recognizes me on sight. I've been to so many of these events. We want to go home.
Joining us here tonight, and especially want to thank Nintendo for partnering with Best Buy to put on such a great event.
I'm sorry. I'm grinning like a hyena, but I'm feeling the excitement all over again.
You know, each day hundreds of thousands of people come to Best Buy and to BestBuy.com looking for the latest and greatest in technology. You know, it's a responsibility that we take very seriously. We want to do that every day and introduce great technology like we have here tonight with the Nintendo 3DS.
Yeah, just stop before I'm saying DS.
We believe that this transformational technology is going to revolutionize gaming, changing the very nature of this immersive gaming experience. The Nintendo 3DS is changing the way the game is played, and we're delighted to offer the first first U.S. sale of this device later this evening. And with any new technology, we want to do the best that we can with our job to make sure that we can help you get the most out of your gaming devices. So to tell you more about all that the Nintendo 3DS has to offer, I'm going to turn it over to the man who's made this all possible, Nintendo's president, Reggie Fils-Aimé.
My body's ready. Thank you, Mike. How y'all doing?
What does the Best Buy president feel like just hearing them actually cheering Reggie, Reggie, like...
This is what Best Buy and Nintendo is all about.
Are all about. Who wrote that script for you? Are all about, not is.
Who wants to be here and have a great experience, and we are just thrilled to have you all here tonight. I want to pay a special tribute to our partners at Best Buy. This is a very special opportunity for us to be here at the official first sale of Nintendo 3DS here in the Americas. Here,
Yeah, I can't believe I still had a 4x3 camera at this point.
everyone's enthusiasm.
But
And thank you for being a part of history. Because tonight, the Nintendo 3DS will turn the page in gaming history. And let me tell you what I mean, right? Playing in monochrome was great. Remember Game Boy in monochrome? Okay? But that was the 80s. Playing in color was great, but that was the 90s. And until tonight, you could only see games in 2D or the occasional 3D, but you had to wear those funky glasses, right? Who wants to wear those funky glasses? No! Right? I don't know about you guys, but I've been told it's not my best look. Just like those glasses in that picture.
he saw that they put his yearbook picture where he's wearing those big glasses all over the place. Yeah, it's cool that they're doing that again.
So let's get rid of the old and seize the new. Tonight, the era of 3D glasses ends right here and right now. So, as you may have heard before,
Man, I hope no one's getting seasick from my camera, my cinematography here.
it's 3D videos, it's taking 3D pictures, but games are the centerpiece. And you'll be playing games installed on the system. You'll be doing that right out of the box, right when you buy it. And at the same time, it's important to remember that walking out of the store is just the beginning of the experience. Once you connect to the internet, more good things will happen. And there's already an update available right now. And when you
Yay! System update!
wonderful 3D music video by the band OK Go. There's going to be another update coming in May, and that's going to be a whole new exclusive gateway to all kinds of different 3D
That big May update got delayed to June, and it actually got delayed to the day of Nintendo's E3 presentation.
because we're getting closer to opening the doors here at the Union Square Best Buy and starting a whole new era of 3D gaming without the glasses, right?
You still have that music video on your 3DS with them walking the dogs on the treadmills and all that?
No more glasses! Nintendo!
That
That was badass.
was badass. I was...
You sitting here holding that sign right? Oh my gosh. I cannot believe I was referenced in that epic speech.
Alright.
It's like 11:40ish. They're now talk some more. Yeah. Or we could just open up the doors and get right at it. Yeah. Alright? So that's how I vote too. Now,
Hey. Hey, Ralia. Oh, bonus. Oh, no, not... Yeah, we're doing E3 from 2009 up to 2014. We took a little detour to talk about, to do some of my, the footage I took of the 3DS launch.
I don't know about you, but I am not going to miss these things at all. So, we're going to do this the right
right way. I'm gonna turn it back over to Trent, and we're gonna kiss these glasses goodbye.
Thanks, Reggie. So here's how it's gonna go down. Let's take our 3D glasses, like this, raise them up overhead. Let me see them.
Yeah, they handed out a bunch of, like, old-fashioned, like, cardboard 3D glasses for us to throw away for this photo op. I saved a couple of them, because I actually did have some old 3D comic books and stuff like that.
Nice and tight. There we go. In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No more glasses! New era of Nintendo 3DS, Reggie and Mike.
No one was expecting that confetti thing to go off. Did I say Sieg Xeon? Good gravy. Alright, let's go to E3.